हर स्क्रिप्ट का अपना एक सफ़र होता है, तो चलिए ऐसे ही एक सफ़र पे जिसका नाम है स्क्रिप्टनामा। हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू द 8th एपिसोड ऑफ स्क्रिप्टनामा, एक ऐसा पॉडकास्ट जो कहानी के पीछे की कहानी सुनाता है। और हर एपिसोड की तरह ये एपिसोड मेरे लिए बहुत स्पेशल है। बट आज मेरे पास एक से ज़्यादा रीज़न है, क्योंकि आज मेरे पास एक से ज़्यादा होस्ट है। Reason number one why today's episode is very special. Today we have with us Jagriti Yadav, who came all the way from Jaipur. She has participated in a contest that we ran on our IG account. So welcome to the show, Jagriti.
Hello. Thank you
And how are you?
for
How are you
such a
feeling?
warm welcome. I am feeling ecstatic.
Great.
I'm feeling really good. Nervous, everything like nervous, good nervous, bad nervous, everything. All the feelings coming together. I am fangirling right now, still sinking in everything. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
You're most welcome to Mumbai and to the show, Jagriti. Reason number two why we are super excited is because this is the finale episode of Scriptnama Season 1. Reason number three is today we have a guest with us whom I have been following from 2017. Finally, she agreed, and she agreed only because we said that we will not just invite her, but her entire writing team. And today we have writing team of one of the best and loved show, Mismatched. And we have Gazal ma'am with us. So welcome to the show, Gazal ma'am.
थैंक यू आदेश, थैंक यू सो मच। मैं तुम्हें पहले ये बताना चाहती हूँ कि मैंने इसलिए नहीं इतना टाइम लगाया आने के लिए, क्योंकि आई थिंक टू हाईली ऑफ माई सेल्फ। मैंने सिर्फ इसलिए इतना टाइम लगाया क्योंकि आई एम जस्ट लेजी। मैं जितना डिले कर सकूँ कोई चीज़ मैं करती हूँ, प्रोक्रास्टिनेट करती हूँ। सो आई एम सॉरी इफ आई टुक सो लॉन्ग, बट आई एम सो एक्साइटेड कि मैं तुम्हारे शो पे हूँ। मैंने कुछ टाइम से फॉलो किया तुम्हारा शो। यू आर डूइंग एन अमेजिंग जॉब। Thank you for having me and my team. And जागृति, मुझे आई एम सो एक्साइटेड टू नो कि तुमने कॉन्टेस्ट जीता है। आई एम वेरी एक्साइटेड कि तुम यहाँ पे हो।
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
And I don't need to introduce Ghazal ma'am because her work speaks for who she is and what work she has done. But what we will do is we will ask Ghazal ma'am to introduce her Avengers to us. So Ghazal ma'am, tell us who is Captain America of your team, who is Iron Man, who is Hulk of your team. Introduce us to your Avengers, ma'am, please.
आई थिंक ये जो सुपर हीरो वाला टेरिटरी है वो आर्श का है। So I think that's the first introduction.
We're all just Hawkeyes in front of Gazal. But yes, Gazal is your Nick Fury.
Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Anyway, so ये आर्श वोरा हैं। ये सबसे पहले राइटर थे जो जिन्होंने ज्वाइन किया था टीम मिसमैच सीजन 1 के टाइम पे। अर्श ने अभी रिसेंटली इसकी नेटफ्लिक्स पे एक बहुत अच्छी फिल्म आई थी लास्ट ईयर, दिवाली रिलीज, मीनाक्षी सुंदरम। एक और बहुत बहुत ही फनी फिल्म है इसकी, कैश, जो कि हॉटस्टार पे आई है। एंड अर्श इज डूइंग अ लॉट ऑफ अदर एक्साइटिंग वर्क राइट नाउ, जो कि आएगा अगले साल।
Sure. Welcome to the show, Arsh.
Thanks Adesh. Thanks Jagriti. Thank you Gazal.
ओके, सुनैना हमारी सेकंड राइटर थी मिसमैच्ड सीजन 1 पे। सुनैना ने काफ़ी काम किया था तब तक, जो मुझे पता था कि ये कर रही हैं, लेकिन वेल हर फर्स्ट डेब्यू वर्क टू कम आउट वाज मिसमैच्ड। सुनैना का भी मैंने सैम्पल सो प्रोसेस ये हुआ था सीजन 1 के टाइम पे कि मुझे पहले RSVP जो कि प्रोड्यूसर हैं, जो नेटफ्लिक्स के लिए शो बनाने वाले थे, उन्होंने मेरा जो कॉन्सेप्ट मैंने सबमिट किया था उन्हें अच्छा लगा था, सो दे हायर्ड मी। और फिर मुझे राइटर्स रूम के लिए राइटर्स ढूंढने थे। एंड आजकल राइटर्स के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स होते हैं काफ़ी, जो पहले नहीं थे, एजेंट्स होते हैं। सो हमारी एजेंसी 2-3 अलग एजेंसी से हमें राइटर्स के रिप्रेजेंटेशंस मिले। मैंने सैम्पल्स पढ़े, तो जो बेस्ट सैम्पल्स मुझे लगे थे, और जो लोग वैसे भी दे वर लिटिल वार्म, they were funny, there was something attractive about their personalities. So Sunayna was, of course, one of the topmost choices. तो हम लोगों का 3 लोगों का राइटर्स रूम बन गया था। देन हमें एक अच्छा सा असिस्टेंट राइटर चाहिए था। that I just, हम बोलते हैं किस्मत, मैंने ट्विटर पे जाके डाला कि मुझे एक बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग यंग शो के लिए असिस्टेंट राइटर चाहिए. एंड इट वाज अमेजिंग. वैसे मुझे ज़्यादा लोग फॉलो नहीं करते हैं ट्विटर पे, मैं ज़्यादा एक्टिव हूँ भी नहीं, पर बहुत सारे इंडस्ट्री के इम्पोर्टेंट लोगों ने वो रीट्वीट किया, तो आई थिंक उसका रीच काफ़ी बढ़ गया था. एंड अक्षय वाज मतलब easily, was our assistant writer in season 1, is one of the writers in season 2. Akshay was just easily the top choice. Just, I'm so grateful till date. That's Akshay. That's the season 1 team, which continues in season 2. और season 2 के लिए हमें एक और writer चाहिए थी. What happened was Sunayna was not joining us for season 2.
Oh, you're
So-
saying it like I chose not to join.
You were done with that.
So,
Thanks, Sunayna.
तो हमें एक और राइटर चाहिए थी, और अर्श ने नंदिनी के साथ पहले काम किया हुआ था एंड ही स्पोक वेरी हाईली ऑफ हर. तो मैंने क्विकली नंदिनी से बात की. मुझे याद है मैंने इनका जूम पे हुआ था उस वक्त, सब कुछ कोविड चल रहा था 2020. मैंने इनका चेहरा देखा ही जूम पे और मुझे पता था कि मुझे इनके साथ काम करना है. समथिंग वेरी वार्म अबाउट हर. सो या, these are
So
my
welcome to the
Avengers.
show,
Thank
Sunayna,
you.
Akshay,
Thank you
and,
so much for having us,
Nandini.
Adesh.
Hi. Welcome, everyone.
So to start with, the show is based on a book,
Yes.
right? Have you all read the book before you started writing it?
Yes.
Okay, you all have. And how much of the show is from the book? Is it like A to Z, or is it like you took the book as the base and then you build the world from your own interpretation of the book?
सो बुक का नाम तो मैं पहले बता दूं, संध्या मेनन की बुक है. इट्स कॉल्ड व्हेन डिम्पल मेट ऋषि.
Right. Yeah.
ऑब्वियसली इट्स अ प्ले ऑन डिम्पल कपाडिया एंड ऋषि कपूर, जो कि बहुत फेमस कपल थे. इंटरेस्टिंग थी. बुक इज बेस्ड इन अमेरिका एक्चुअली. इट्स अबाउट एनआरआई किड्स जो कि वहाँ पे पले पड़े हैं. तो नेटफ्लिक्स को वो इंडिया में सेट करनी थी, राइट? सो ऑब्वियसली ए टू जी तो हो ही नहीं सकता है बुक से.
Right.
प्लस अगर शो बनाना है किसी बुक से, तो उसमें बहुत ज़्यादा मटेरियल होना चाहिए. बुक ओनली मेनली फोकसेस ऑन दीज टू कैरेक्टर्स एंड देयर लव स्टोरी.
Right.
तो एक तो प्राइमरीली वो काफ़ी नहीं था शो बनाने के लिए. वी नीडेड टू हैव मोर कैरेक्टर्स, राइट? तो वो कैरेक्टर्स हमने और सोचे क्या इंटरेस्टिंग हो सकते हैं. एक यंग टीनेजर्स की सेटिंग में, कॉलेज में क्या हो सकता है इंटरेस्टिंग, जो लोगों को भी इंटरेस्टिंग लगेगा, व्यूअर्स, हमारे यंग व्यूअर्स को देखने में. सो एक तो वो बहुत सारे नए कैरेक्टर्स तो एनीवे थे बुक से हट के. सो जो प्राइमरीली हमने चीज़ रखी बुक से, जो कि बहुत अपीलिंग थी मेरे लिए पढ़ते वक्त, हम सब के लिए, कैरेक्टर्स. जो डिम्पल और ऋषि के कैरेक्टर्स हैं,
Right.
वो जिस तरह से, मतलब ऋषि इतना स्वीट है और ही इज सच अ रोमांटिक. ही इज नॉट लाइक एनी बॉय यू वुड मीट टुडे,
Right,
एनी 18-year-old बॉय. ही नोज ही वांट्स टू हैव दिस वन ग्रेट लव इन हिज लाइफ एंड ही इज रेडी फॉर इट. दूसरी तरफ से डिम्पल है जो उसके बिल्कुल ऑपोजिट है. शी इज सो ड्रिवन, शी इज इंटरेस्टेड इन प्रोग्रामिंग एंड ऑल दैट. अगेन, जो कि आप कम देखते हैं लड़कियों में. नहीं देखते हैं, नहीं कह रही हूँ, बट कम देखते हैं, which is changing today. So these two were very interesting characters. So we wanted to retain those. और कुछ एक incidents बहुत interesting थे. जैसे the cold coffee thing, which is a craze, like people have gone mad after it.
Right.
वो of course संध्या मेनन की creation है, बुक से आया है. Non-date जो है वो बुक से है, the term
Yeah.
non-date.
Right.
But yeah, lots of things. डिम्पल को गेमर बनाना वो बुक में नहीं था. आई वुड से थर्ड या फोर्थ एपिसोड ऑफ सीजन 1 के बाद हमने इंसिडेंट्स कोई ज़्यादा बुक से नहीं लिए.
Okay.
सीजन 2 तो बिल्कुल भी बुक से नहीं है. It's completely gone into a different direction.
Right.
But that's not a fault of the book. It's just that it's a love story of two kids.
Yeah.
We needed to make a show out of it. तो बहुत expand करना था हमें.
Right. And what were your interpretation, guys? Akshay, what did you like in the book that you took this project, or was this project like कि पैसा कमाना है इसलिए काम करना है?
First of all, I just wanted to work with Gazal. So that was the biggest plus point. वो कुछ भी ऑफर करते हैं मैं ले लेता हूँ. So that's not. But I remember the weekend. It was a Friday, I think, when I got a call कि we start work, and I finished reading the book over the weekend. And I didn't stop reading at all. Not just because मेरे पास एक deadline थी, बट वो जेन्युइनली एक ऐसी बुक है जो आपका रखने का मन नहीं करता. इट्स अ पेज टर्नर, इट्स वेरी स्वीट, वेरी हार्ट वार्मिंग. एंड व्हेन आई रेड इट मुझे लगा कि इंडियन स्पेस में इस मटेरियल का कुछ है नहीं, विच इज़ वेरी स्ट्राइकिंगली डिफरेंट, विच फोकसेस ऑन लाइक कोडिंग, ऐप बेस्ड है. एक टीनेज यंग अडल्ट कंटेंट इंडिया में था नहीं उस टाइम पे, तो ऑलरेडी फील हो रहा था कि कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग है ये. सो yeah, that was my reason ki I was very much wanting to do the project.
Yeah. And what about you, Arsh?
So I'm a sucker for the genre.
Right.
So I love young adult. I really enjoy writing rom-coms. In fact, it's a genre that I really wanted to do right. So and this was the perfect opportunity because the world was so different from anything else we have seen in the young adult world. Normally it's set in this elite school and like it's all jazzy and glossy and stuff like that. These were real kids.
Right.
And any kid who's been to university, and it's very relatable, and I thought that was also very relatable. Like I thought that this was that opportunity for us.
And for you,
Yeah.
Sunayna, was it
Yeah,
Ghazal,
I
ma'am? Was
think
it genre?
It was all of it, but I do think like similarly I've grown up on like YA content, watched a lot of it, but I think also what was exciting was the sort of gender reversal. He is the one who's obsessed with getting married, finding his love, and she is kind of obsessed with having this career. So that was interesting right off the hook, and I thought that would be nice to explore. But apart from that, it was the genre which was like a big selling point for me.
Yeah. And for you, Nandini, season 2, after you have seen season 1, did you like this season 1 when you saw it as an audience?
So, fun fact, I joined the team as a fanfic writer, because I saw it, even like, I saw the rushes even before it was properly edited and everything. And I was like, man, this is a gold mine. It was so much fun. And I immediately knew, mujhe isko pasand hai, I like him, I like her, whatever. And it was just like Arsh was saying, like it wasn't this glossy, fancy, smart alecky kind of world. These guys felt really real. And I really enjoyed that. And, when I read the book, I was like, it's nice, but the show's so much nicer, because I had the luxury of seeing the show and reading the book side by side. So yeah, I came in to say, mujhe, I like these characters. I want to write about them. Will you let me? And they were like, hey, yeah, come on board. So yeah, I think it was more the show than the book that attracted me. But none of these guys had that luxury I did. Yeah.
Which character have you worked primarily on?
Everyone makes fun of me.
Take it away, Nandini.
I like all characters, just FYI. But
We
the
believe
character
you.
I was most excited about writing was Harsh. That's all.
And in season 2, Harsh's arc is amazing.
Right.
Amazing.
Yeah.
अगर कोरिलेशन निकालना हो कि सीजन 2 में हर्ष का हुआ और सीजन 2 में न्यू राइटर कौन था, तो
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think the show broke barriers because it came at a time where there wasn't much content related to young adult,
That's the thing.
which dealt with all the issues. And plus, I think when I watched the show for the first time, what I found interesting was that other characters were given the same kind of importance. Each episode started with each character's perspective, which was not, I think I did not witness it much in Indian cinema at that point in time, that too young adult, that too which dealt with actually very contemporary issues. So kudos to you all for that.
Thank you.
Tell us about the writing journey of season 1. And how did you structure? Was it very conscious decision that we will go with every character's perspective with each episode?
I think I can't tell you वो idea आया कहाँ से था, but when we were putting together all the different characters, बैठे थे हमने सोचा था कि of course we need many more characters in this. तो क्या interesting हो सकता है, क्या है जो हमने देखा नहीं है पहले. For me it was very interesting कि जैसे heroine की best friend या best friend हमेशा gay होता है. You've seen that. I wanted to invert that. So for us it was like, okay, Rishi की best friend is a lesbian, and we haven't seen that much before, right? A disabled character is something we've never seen in the young adult space, जो कि बहुत exciting था हमारे लिए. ऐसे ही अलग अलग characters हमने बैठ के सोचे थे, and while we were doing that, मुझे लगा कि हम इतने interesting characters बना रहे हैं. I want to hear all of them.
Right.
सबकी आवाज़ ज़रूरी है. ठीक है, हम एक rom-com बना रहे हैं, एक love story बना रहे हैं. But उसके बीच में we have this amazing opportunity to tell such important issues in a format, in a genre which is not like overwhelmingly dark and, won't put you into misery while watching it. That's something I really believe in, and I want to kind of create content where you say really important stuff, but you stay in a way that log, हर तरह के लोग आके देखना चाहेंगे और entertain होंगे. Which won't be just quote unquote niche parallel cinema. So yeah, वो characters हम सब ने मिलके सोचे थे, और फिर I think ये brainwave आया था कि सबको voice देते हैं, because all of them are beautiful
Just
characters.
to add to it, I think so. The book has Rishi's perspective, Dimple's perspective, and every character.
Yeah.
So it keeps bouncing from one chapter's
Every
Rishi's
chapter,
perspective,
yeah.
one
Okay.
chapter's Dimple's perspective, and I think right in the beginning we tried to do that, but then like we developed all these very interesting characters with very interesting voices, and we got greedy, and we were like, "Sabko suna chahiye na."
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
So that's I think
That's what makes the show very rich.
Thank you.
And we added 2 more
Thank you.
characters in season 2.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have a new writer in season 2.
We had 2 more episodes in
We
season
also
2.
got 2 more episodes in
Yeah.
season 2. Yeah.
Okay, for someone who's listening this show and he or she doesn't know about the writer's room, the concept of writer's room, what is writer's room? How it functions?
So I would start by saying कि when we started this writer's room, I was a novice. मैंने पहले कभी नहीं किया था. मैंने पहले कभी series नहीं किया था. Writer's room नहीं किया था. Sunayna had more experience. She had been on writer's room. So Sunayna, you want to take that? Start.
But
that.
the thing is, like, every writer's room is considerably different. So, yeah, I've not had the same experience in any writer's room. It's all been different. I will say that there are a few like ground rules, like the rule of yes and. If somebody has an idea, you don't trash it right away. You be like, okay, let's take it through till the end. And then if it's bad, then we move on to the next idea. So that just helps to like trusting each other and being open to like share your ideas. And then it's just a lot of talk. And then the head writer always tries to bring it back to the story. Like we'll start talking about our personal issues and our personal lives. And then the head writer's like, yeah, okay, now how do we bring it to the story that we have and the characters that we have? And we always start with characters. We
Yeah.
always start with like, we have a basic idea of a story, we have a log line, and then let's just discuss characters and who they are. And it's surprising how like Gazal will have an idea for a character and then very quickly everyone will add to it. But everyone then knows who that character is.
Right.
Because you've just like built that character together. And then everyone has that voice. But yeah, it does happen in a writer's room where like Ghazal will be, I don't know, like she'll have like some character's voice properly in place, and then Aarsh will be, so every time it's like time to think about that particular character, you turn to Aarsh or you turn to the other writer who's,
Yeah.
so everyone understands their role really well, like, and knows they're like, okay, this person has this one's voice down pat, so let's just go to them.
Yeah, that's interesting that every person, every writer contributed to particular character. So my question is, which character you personally resonated when you were writing and when you read the book? Nandini?
So Nandini resonated most with Harsh, जो कि book में था ही नहीं.
Okay.
Sorry, I took it away from you. बोलो.
Please. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I say I agree.
I agree. Yeah.
मैं
Next.
personally इसी पे सुनैना केस पे I would say that that's so true. Like for example, at the time of season 1, I used to grapple with Harsh a little bit, right? So I would always think, shit, मुझे Arsh से पूछना चाहिए या सुनैना से पूछना चाहिए. And for a while, I don't know, I think वो collaborative spirit figure out करने में मुझे भी time लगा था, because I'd never done a thing. तो बहुत देर तक ये होता था, नहीं मुझे खुद करना है. But then after a certain point, you start realizing that, we are a team. This is how a room is supposed to function. So then I was able to start looking at other guys for help with various characters. Again, फिर से मैंने सिर्फ यही एक writer's room पे काम किया है. So I think the way
Just completely relied on each other.
yeah.
Yeah.
Completely relied.
Like, especially during our Zoom sessions, I mean, in season 2, because we didn't have the luxury of being around each other, that kind of chemistry was very important, that we all were listening to each other, no one was talking over each other. And it was a very like during the pandemic, because everyone was so stressed out with the world outside, we all really look forward to that 9 o'clock class. Like just to get together and listen to each other talk. And
It was 10 a.m. Nandini.
okay, fine. when we just weren't getting it, it was sometimes 9 o'clock. But
Closer
yeah,
to deadline. It was
Yeah.
9 o'clock.
You know, remember once we had a 6:30 a.m. call?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
7 we
We
did.
did.
I remember 7.
Yeah.
With Gazal?
Yes.
Yeah. Because किसी का time match नहीं हो रहा था and we were like late नहीं कर सकते, so why don't we start early?
Yeah.
8:30, 8.
And weirdly, we were all excited because we were doing this. Like everyone
Yeah, it was
showed
still
up.
dark outside
Yeah.
and we were just talking. But, also like, I know everyone like here loves to make fun of me for loving Harsh, but I also really love Anmol's track. I think even as writers,
Yes.
like when you get something that's a little challenging, like, where you feel othered, where you feel different, and pulling from our own experiences. See, none of us use a wheelchair, but to write about a character who does, and the kind of emotional highs and lows a character like that would go through, it was a challenge, I think, for all of us. And I remember all of us talking to therapist friends, people like that, to really put in that hard work and research. Not everything comes from personal experience, but to still make that relatable. And I don't know. I really liked Anmol's arc, especially this season. It was one of my
Yeah.
favorite
Yeah.
ones.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I really wanted to ask you guys, how do you deal with imposter syndrome and writer's block?
You want to take that, Akshay?
Okay. Um,
I think
impo-
he has the least amount of imposter syndrome amongst
Yeah.
us. So why don't you?
That's not the case. That's not the case. It's there quite a lot. I actually talk about it, and it'll generally be like, now if I have that syndrome, I'll talk to these guys ki this is not feeling right, ye wo, and they will hype me up ki aisa kuch nahi hai. Like, you deserve what you're getting right now. There is no such thing as your feelings are valid, but don't think about all of that.
Yeah.
There is a reason एक opportunity तुम्हारे पास आई है. Make the most of it. And yeah, that's how I do. I talk about it a lot to, like, if not these people, like other friends or like family. I think talking really helps, especially in the situation, because you can go down a rabbit hole ki, and then आप conscious हो जाते हो. A writer's room is the last place to be conscious, because if you're not feeling safe and if you're not feeling कि क्योंकि आपको जज कर रहा है फुल
Yeah.
टाइम, तो आप एकदम ऑनेस्ट आइडियाज नहीं दे पाओगे, आप अपने ऑनेस्ट सीक्रेट्स नहीं शेयर कर पाओगे, एंड वो कहीं ना कहीं फिर आप अपना जॉब नहीं कर रहे हो. सो आई थिंक laying it out is very important.
We all felt very safe because I think writing generally is a very vulnerable process where you are like talking about some pretty heavy shit once in
Yeah.
a while, and we need that to be authentic to our characters. But yeah, it was a very safe space. I knew that if I said this, if I had a stupid idea, no one would
Right.
be like Sunayna was saying, everyone is very collaborative and someone keeps you in check. So you're like, okay, I won't go on and on and on.
Yeah.
But it is a community and it is a very safe community. And if you have imposter syndrome, you fake it till you make it. I think
Yeah.
You make
Yeah.
you just do it anyway because
Yeah, that's the thing.
yeah.
I think all of us do struggle with it. I also constantly struggle with imposter syndrome. मैं किसी और का काम देखती हूँ and I'm like, मैं तो ये कभी नहीं दिख सकती, या ये कितना अमेजिंग है, या क्रिटिक्स ने इसको कितना प्रेज किया है, हमें नहीं करते हैं तो ऑब्वियसली वी आर नॉट एज गुड. सो ये कॉन्स्टेंटली दिमाग में ये सब चीज़ें चलती रहती हैं, राइट? आई थिंक द ओनली प्लेस टू गो बैक टू इज जस्ट योर लैपटॉप एंड राइट. ठीक है, तुम बुरा लिख रहे हो, ठीक है, तुम लिख रहे हो,
Yeah.
ये ज़रूरी है कि तुम लिख रहे हो. यू विल गेट देयर. मतलब आई डोंट नो इफ आई एवर गेट देयर, बट I know this, that every day when I have written something, when I've gone to sleep knowing that I wrote something today, I felt good about myself. The next day I might hate it.
Yeah.
I might share with these guys and they might be like, you know it can be better या हम कुछ और कर सकते हैं, वो हो सकता है, लेकिन the day when you've written something, this feeling of productivity na really helps.
Yeah.
That's really nice. That's nicely put. The question is why you guys chose to be a writer. Starting with you, Akshay.
So writing wasn't my first career choice. I've studied CA. So I completed that. But something about films मुझे हमेशा से करना था. I remember even in my ninth standard aptitude test, I was like कि something about films. But क्या उस time पे इतनी awareness नहीं थी कि एक full line है screen writing जैसी. But हमेशा से idea था. और फिर धीरे धीरे ओवर द इयर्स मालूम पड़ा कि ऐसी एक इंटरेस्टिंग फील्ड है. So that's why I chose to become a writer. I don't think. Also, I don't feel anything else would have worked out. Like just when you feel so happy at the end of the day.
Right.
I don't think I can think of anything else at the moment. So yeah.
Sure. What about you?
So I mean, like to tell stories, and it's a problem because like किसी को भी पकड़ के मतलब सुना दो. तो वो बचपन से मेरा वो सीन था कि मैं किसी को भी पकड़ के and I used to make up stuff to make my own life interesting.
Right.
So I guess the germ is I love films. I've grown up on all kinds of films. I used to watch films all the time. I was asthmatic, so I never used to go down to play. So that's why I used to sit at home and play with my GI Joes. खुद का कहानी बनाओ टॉयज के साथ, ये वो खुद का पिक्चर पूरा डायरेक्ट कर लो. फिल पेन लेके ऐसे एक्शन फिगर्स पे ऐसे खून निकला, oh shit, उसको पंच मारा, खून निकला, उन टांगे तोड़ दो उनकी ऐसे. मतलब I had like in my room I had like a Lego or GI Joes, He-Man, all that stuff, all Star Wars toys, this that. So I grew up with my own like sort of imagination land kind of a thing out there. And of course when you watch films and then you recreate them with your GI Joes. So that was I think the basis of my storytelling. So yeah, I mean that was that. And then I was also doing CA. I was horrible at it. So I mean my parents figured out soon enough that I was horrible at it, and I finally told them that I want to do films. And I come from a business family, like hardcore Gujarati business family, And I told them I want to do films, and they're like, okay. They were weirdly supportive. I didn't expect them to be so supportive, but they had मतलब कि this is a phase. मतलब वो चला जाएगा तीन चार साल में. नहीं गया. मैं लिखता रहा. So then finally, like, you start writing, you start telling stories, you tell all the bad stories out there, you like horribly, you get better, you work with great people who sort of help you grow as a writer, tell you ये गलत है, ऐसा मत करो, ये सही है, ऐसा और करो, So that kind of stuff, and that was basically मतलब मोटा मोटा यही है.
I have to say Aarsh is one person जिसका मैंने कभी नहीं देखा है जितना खजाना इसके पास है आइडियाज का. दिन में 10 आइडियाज होते हैं इसके पास, and all of them are brilliant.
Yeah, that's true.
Wow.
He's that guy.
He can't
this is
stop
yes
telling
and.
stories.
This is yes and.
About you, Sunayna?
Yeah, I think for me also, like Akshay, I don't know if I could do anything else. Like I just like writing was it, but I think it started when I was very young. Like maybe of the 4th or 5th standard, I wrote a essay about my dog, and one teacher, one very kind teacher, which is that's very important to have. Like
Good teacher.
one
Kind teachers.
somebody believe in you.
Yeah.
That person was like, "Hey, you should do this more. You should write more." And then I think in the 5th standard, I decided, okay, I guess I'll be a writer.
Wow, at
Wow.
fifth
Fifth
standard.
standard?
Yeah, no, so but it
Wow.
was screenwriting, I didn't know you could become a screenwriter.
Yeah.
So it was always like I always thought I'll do like print, I'll write for magazines and books but yeah, I finally then very late in life realized, oh, you can be somebody writes those scripts. That's what you're watching, and then I switched to screenwriting. Yeah.
It's very funny. That reminds me, मेरे मामा जी was a like a
It
big.
reminded me the same thing, surprisingly.
I mean, watches a lot of Hindi films and all that. तो जब मैं screenwriter बनी और मैंने लिखना शुरू किया, suddenly he says one day, बेटा ये मुझे नहीं पता था कि डायलॉग लिखे जाते हैं. मुझे तो लगता था बस डायलॉग होते हैं, वो बोलते हैं, बस होते हैं. So, but मेरी जर्नी अबाउट आदिश, मैं बहुत ज़्यादा ऑनेस्टली बहुत पढ़ी लिखी राइटर नहीं हूँ. मैंने बहुत कम रीडिंग की है लाइफ में, which I'm embarrassed about. लेकिन I think my storytelling began because I had no other way of living a life. I needed to create a story around myself so that I could, just live, because I am a trans woman. I was born as a male child, and it was just extremely suffocating. मेरे पास only outlet was to just build a world around myself in which I was a girl, and then create scenarios around that. Shut the door and just be in front of the mirror and create various stories for myself in which I'm the heroine. Right? So I think मैं बहुत सोच रही थी कि मैंने कब से सोचना शुरू किया, तो I think that's where it began. And from there I just figured that अच्छा मैं डायरेक्ट कर रही हूँ स्टोरीज, तो शायद मुझे डायरेक्टर बनना है. तो बहुत देर तक मुझे ये कीड़ा था कि मुझे डायरेक्टर बनना है. तो मैंने इंजीनियरिंग वगैरह करी, काम किया इन्फोसिस में. वो जब छोड़ के मैं बॉम्बे आई एक्सआईसी में पढ़ने एंड डायरेक्टर बनने के लिए. But along the way, I just, fell in love with writing when I was studying there. लिखना भी खुद ही पड़ता था. It just felt so liberating. मुझे लगता था कि मैंने सोचा फिल्म बनाने के लिए तो आपको कितनी सारी चीज़ें चाहिए to fall into place. But on my paper, I can create a world, a brilliant world जो कोई और नहीं कर सकता है.
Yeah, I mean, wow, you all have such wonderful stories. I am more of like a jack of all trades, master of none. I kind of did lots of things, but everything had to do something with creating things, and I did that ever since I was a kid. Like I used to write a journal since I was like 4 years old, and I used to show it to my mom, and she was an English teacher, so she was very like, get the grammar correct and all of that. But yeah, I used to love creating worlds, and I was also very like, I had friends and all, but I had a little world in my head. I was always absent-minded, thinking of other things. Even now, I zone out a lot. So it's.
Are you zoning in? Like, are you zoned out?
No, I'm listening. I'm paying attention.
You
But
can never tell when Nandini zones out. You can always tell when I zone out.
No, but this world of fantasy, like, is very important for me. It's my escape. I really enjoy it. And like Ghazal said, when you realize you have the power to create that yourself, it's like you feel like a superhero. You're like,
Yeah.
no one can hurt me here. This is my world. This is what I build. And I mean, luckily for me, people liked what I did, and I was like, hey, do you think I can make money of this? And I'd actually, that's a lie. I didn't even think about it. I'm very bad at making money. But I had friends who were like, hey, will you write? I mean, I got really lucky with my writing because I just like writing, I would send stories to friends, and some of them were filmmakers, storytellers themselves. My friend Sonam, who directed Masava, we started out as ADs together, and I used to send her my stories just to like talk about them, not to like get a job, because I was doing other things. And she said, hey, I'm writing something. Do you want to like join me, and can we do something together? And we started like some kind of collaborative work, and that was so much fun. And then I got a dog, which meant that I had to stay at home a lot. So I was like, might as well write. And yeah, that's how writing happened to me.
I wanted to ask for someone who wants to pursue screenwriting as a career. So, what should be the trajectory like for them to follow?
I will say about like how do you end up becoming a writer and like a screenwriter. I mean, you can follow many paths, but like for instance with Akshay, like he was a writer's room assistant, and then by season 2 he was a writer on the show.
No, but how do you even become a writer's room assistant?
Okay,
because that is also difficult for some people to reach
Right,
that stage.
right.
So there's no right way or like stuff
Yeah.
like that, but there's one way I would recommend. One is, this is not a field where you need a degree or something like that. Okay, the only thing you have to show for yourself is your script.
Yeah.
You need to invest that time to write a kick-ass script. So a script that is your voice as a writer, a script that a story that you want to tell. Don't expect that film to get made ever, but that document will get you more work.
Yeah.
That document will showcase your talent. So spend 6 months, 1 year, how much ever time it takes, but get that one document out, a feature film script, and the kind of stuff that you want to write.
Okay.
Yeah.
People will read it. No one will make it. Okay, I mean, I hope it gets made. Very lucky. But you will definitely get more work out of it because people will see your potential in your writing.
Also, you always find your tribe.
You always find your tribe. Yeah,
You
Yeah.
do.
It's very
That has
important to
been
find.
said on the show as well. Find the tribe.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what happened with me as well. मैंने बैठ के कोई काम नहीं था, मैंने बैठ के लिखी एक पूरी film script and I just gave it to many people. उनमें से किसी एक ने पढ़ी और उन्होंने तनुजा चंद्रा को बताया
Okay.
मेरे बारे में. And वहाँ से with her my career sort of started. And that's pretty much, I think, what Adish you did. You just, alongside your job, तुमने इतनी सारी पढ़ाई करी script writing के बारे में and you started writing. I think it is a lonely profession. It also starts sort of lonely, but you find company in what you're writing, in those
Right.
stories that you're writing.
Right. So before you guys landed or you became a part of Mismatch, how much you have written before that? Akshay.
Not a lot actually, because at least script work तो बहुत ही कम. I remember writing few short story scripts, but if you're asking a count, I would say like a script format में I would say 3 short stories, and concept wise like a document of would be like 4 concepts. So
Okay.
that's I think that was my, I would say, before Mismatched came to me.
Right.
And then to सबमिट ऑल्सो मैंने वो सब गजल को भेज दिया कि आप देख लो, आपको जो जो अच्छा लग रहा है ये सब हो सकता है पॉसिबल. सो या दैट्स व्हाट.
About you, Aarsh?
A lot.
A lot, right?
Arsh had done the most amount of work among us.
Terrifying number of
I have a laptop full of
Then you
stories.
see, it's obviously some are mine, some are I've written in collaboration with directors who I wanted to collaborate with. Some I've assisted other writers, but there's a lot of writing. और see, the web has opened up a lot of opportunity. मैं जब आया था तब इतना नहीं था. तब या तो आप फिल्म करो और फिल्में बहुत कम बनती है, like casting, all. It's very difficult to get a film made. या टीवी करो जिसका मेरे sensibility नहीं था. You know, मैंने एनिमेशन किया बहुत सारा. I used to write a lot of cartoons, but that was also my base. It was a nice way to get your imagination out there, and you know, like you're creating a new planet every week. You're creating a new monster every week.
New alien every week.
A new alien every week. Then getting your heroes to beat the shit out of the alien every week.
About you, Sunayna? How much
Yeah,
you have
similar.
written?
I think I'd written quite a bit by the time Mismatched happened. I was in a film which is in development hell, as they say. I was part of 2 other writers' rooms. The shows are going to come out next year, so Mismatched was like my break, in the sense that while it was my 3rd show, it came out the fastest.
Right.
And I think my writing journey has been a little bit different in that, like, because I was shifting from print to screen, I didn't have the confidence to, okay, I can just go off and write on my own. I felt like I needed to know what it is to like write a screenplay. So I did go and study. I came back. I wrote a spec, which helped me land like an agency.
Yes.
Which then introduced me to Gazal and Sanaya and RSVP and Mismatched. So it was more like straightforward in that sense.
So
But
Sunayna
I-
is somebody who's officially started screenwriting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because again, I was switching from writing for print to films. I felt like I needed that. But it also like helped in the sense that otherwise I think it would have just, I don't want people to go out there and spend money, because I do think it's very expensive and it's not necessary. But at the time that I was entering, which was, I mean, this is technically my second career, I was like, okay, maybe I need to fast forward this a little bit. So that's why I think.
That's
But-
something I also did. मतलब मैं direction
Yeah.
के लिए आई थी Xavier's में. पर वो एक sort of formal education मेरे भी दिमाग में था कि मुझे चाहिए. I think वो कहीं पे वो एक जो मिडिल क्लास अपब्रिंगिंग होती है ना कि पढ़ाई करनी पड़ती है कोई चीज़ करने के
Yeah,
लिए.
exactly. Yeah.
So इसलिए वो भी था. And thankfully it was a 10-month course. तो मुझे लगा अच्छा ये फटाफट हो जाएगा.
हाँ.
Nandini?
Yeah, no, I've been writing a lot ever since I was a kid, like I said. But I did study English literature. So, you know, writing was something I really enjoyed doing. Reading was something I enjoyed doing. I also went to film school. So we did have to write scripts there. And after that, I was doing a bunch of things. You know, I was a copywriter, as I was telling you earlier. I was an AD. And when I was an AD and I used to work in ads, I got to work with a lot of directors, so I would talk to Anurag Basu, Anurag Kashyap, Ayan Mukherjee. And I remember Ayan and I struck up a friendship when we were working together. And I would send him my writing just for fun, not like make this or whatever. And he said, quit this job and write because you always get shouted at as an AD. And I'm like, yeah, man, that's true. So I did start writing. I wrote with Shakun as well for a bit. So it's just something I really enjoyed, and it's something that came naturally to me, and no one shouted at me. They said nice things to me. So I was like, this suits my temperament, my vibe. And I just want to say something, for academic interest, how do you get to become a writer or anything? Like they all said, you write something that's personal, that's something good, and you send it as a spec. Even right now, as writers, we love writing set pieces, So when you're writing, we can't send a whole screenplay when you're auditioning, so to speak. You're sending your samples. So you write some kick ass set pieces, like some scenes, which you read and you're like, okay, I get to understand the character. I really want to know what happens next. So you build an intrigue about a story that you may not have figured out right now, but you write a great scene. And I think that really draws in people and they are like, okay, she's someone I want to know more about.
Aarsh is someone who may not get scenes, but he gets jokes.
Jokes.
Right, randomly. ये joke एक घुसा देंगे.
That is so important. That is so important to
Can
be
I-
like comedically right.
Yeah.
Comedy is the hardest.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
the worst.
Very hard.
Hardest. Yeah, he's a punch-up man.
And
Every time
then-
it's time for a joke, we're like,
Arsh, help me with the dialogue.
Yeah.
The
And
burden
there's
of
so much
responsibility.
there's so much pressure about writing comedy because it's like, oh my god, if somebody doesn't laugh at this joke,
Yeah.
matlab, it's like my whole confidence shattered. It's like that.
yeah. No, and genuinely, it's easier to make people cry than it is to make
It is.
people
Yeah,
laugh.
For
definitely.
sure.
Genuinely.
Definitely.
For sure.
Definitely.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
आप लोगों ने सेकंड सीजन में एक सीन लिखा था जब उसको एंजाइटी अटैक हो रहा है डिम्पल को एंड हर्ष इज विद हर एंड ही स्टार्ट सिंगिंग एंड ही सिंग्स रियली बैड और फिर उसके बाद ये होता है कि स्टिल लाइक डिम्पल गेट्स कंसोल बट वो सीन में मतलब इट वाज अ वेरी लाइक स्ट्रेसफुल सीन येट इट हैड अ वेरी लाइट कॉमेडिक मोमेंट तो उस सीन के बारे में आप थोड़ा बताएंगे
गेस कीजिए वो किसने लिखा है.
Um, listen, I mean, we all put in our thoughts into that scene. I did not. I mean, it happened in development. I think Dimple's anxiety attack track was something that we really, she's a high achiever, this and that. I mean, that trajectory was decided for her. And what would a guy like Harsh do in a situation like that? And again, some of it comes from personal experience where you have people who just don't know what to say or what to do, but are really sweet in that moment, and you appreciate that. It doesn't help, but thanks for being there. And sometimes being there is just good enough, And I think it came from that thought. But yeah, and just to tell you, I think the actors also did a great job there. I think Vihan ad-libbed a bit. And he told me, like, listen, we've added stuff and all. And you're like, yeah, cool.
No, I have to tell you the first reaction when he said कुछ improvise किया है. My mind, the first reaction was, why? Like, I didn't say it, but I was like, मतलब हमने तुम्हें एक bound script दिया है, like, why can't you just stick to it? But when we saw the rushes, we were like, oh my god, this is so sweet. What they've done is so nice.
He got the brief.
Yeah,
he got the brief.
How long did your meetings go on Zoom call usually?
So season 1 में हम लोग मिलते थे co-working space में. हम चारों मिलते थे 9 a.m. 10 a.m. 9 a.m. हम लोग मिलते थे और लंच तक हम साथ में रहते थे. Unless बहुत pressure वाला situation हो, then it might get
3
pushed.
o'clock maybe.
But usually till I would say 2,
Yeah.
3. हाँ, so about 5-6 hours we would meet every day. But season 1 बहुत जल्दी भी करना था. Season 2 में हम लोग 3 या 4 घंटे रोज मिलते थे.
10 to like 1:30 times.
It's
Yeah.
harder to do for longer hours on Zoom, I
Zoom,
feel.
yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
tiring.
Okay, one thing that you learned about each other and then you have incorporated in your own writing.
I have definitely tried to learn some pun game from Aarsh.
Okay.
And Yeah, for me, writing humor wise, मुझे होता है कि ये मतलब because I think Arsh's sense of humor is just up there.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, will this be funny to him?
Yeah.
I laugh at everything, guys.
No, you don't.
You really don't, Ash.
Really?
Yeah.
Shit.
Nandini?
Again, like I've learned a lot from everyone. I love Akshay's organizational skills. It's made
It's
all our lives
insane.
so much
Yeah.
easier because I have given both Ghazal and Akshay so much stress. Like I'm supposed to submit like something the next day, and I've like shared a draft with them. A script is about 30 pages long, and I've sent them 7 pages of nonsense and said, "How मैं कर लूंगी?" And Ghazal's voice is like, how? I'm really a little worried about you, you know. And I'm like, nahi, nahi, मैं कर लूंगी. And
The
Arsh,
deadline is tomorrow, by the way, and we're speaking today.
Akshay's like, Nandu, how are you going to do it? And I'm like, I'll do it, man. And then I think I'll do one panic call to Arsh saying, bro, how will I do this? He'll be like, nahi, 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 kar lenge, kar lenge. I think we work well in panic.
Yeah.
But
Your divide and rule policy.
yeah, also I'm a huge fan of all your dialogue writing, all of you guys. I think it's I've
I
learned
agree.
so much about writing dialogues because I'm from Calcutta, I'm Bengali, Hindi is not my strong suit. So I think my Hindi is a little better now, thanks to all these guys. It's a little better. Yeah.
Sunayana?
I will say that for me, I think being in the writer's room, and I think it's all of them, and I suffered with it a little bit initially, was like they're very loose in a room. They're like building on each other's ideas, like, you know, she tells a joke, he'll add to that joke. I'm not as loose, so like that is something, and that takes a while. Took me a while to get to. Like, I'm like, okay, fine, I have to like also lose in the sense, you know, like how you would be.
Like a fluid.
Yeah, like more like, you know, how actors I imagine would be. Like, you have to
Ad
like
Play
lib.
off each other.
yeah, like play off each other, be easy, all of that. I get be like, oh, let's go out and play, so let's finish this fast. So in my wanting to finish things fast, I can like not have fun in the moment. So for me, that idea of like have fun, enjoy it, enjoy the journey, enjoy the process of being in the room, I think I've learned it from these guys, because other rooms don't have that.
Kind of a vibe.
Yeah, they don't have that necessarily. They'll be like, okay, 3 ghante mein you figure out that character, you figure out this character, come, let's sit and figure out dialogues together. But this room is very like, let's play.
Right.
And
But
I
there was
think,
balance. It wasn't always
no, but what I mean
like-
to say by lose is like helping each other come up with better ideas,
Right.
because you're like easy and in the flow and
The best way you put it is building on
building
Yeah.
on each
what
other.
one
Yeah.
brings to the table, then you build it.
Yeah, I end up like doing that thing of like, okay, fine, 3 hours for this, and then 2 hours I'll do that, and then 5 hours I'll do this. So then I end up like stressing out about the time I already have, as opposed to like letting go and then just be in
and
the
then you
moment.
have class clowns.
Be in the moment. Yeah, learn from the class clowns. Just be in the moment.
About you, Arsh?
So these everyone here is so rich in experiences, which reflects in their characters. Comparatively, I've had quite a sheltered life, so I really absorb stuff from them. With that regard, I've really learned how to layer characters, how to layer even plot,
Right.
depth.
Right. Right.
They bring all the depth, you know.
That's not true. Come
It-
on.
all of it, you know. And I'm always learning, you know, like how does this have so much heart, you know, like how did this work so well, how am I feeling things in this scene, you know, even though I was part of every discussion and everything, when I still read it, I'm like, tachua, you know.
Episode 1 and 8.
Yeah, like you feel those emotions, those dramatic points land, you know, stuff like that. So yeah, that's what these guys seek out.
About you?
Overall, just being able to write well, there's so many different things, like stuff like patience. Ki even suppose if something is not working today, like we would think maybe we'll discuss this tomorrow. Like to like the idea is to sleep over it. Ki maybe look at it fresh lens. से आप already 4 घंटा brainstorm करके थक चुके हो. Maybe अभी कुछ भी exciting नहीं लग रहा. So you know, take that break. Come back the next day. That's I really like that. I think setting up a routine. I think ours is a very efficient writers' room. Like we submit everything on time. I don't think we've ever crossed deadlines. We start at 9 a.m. means again
Oh
5-10
God.
minutes baatcheet kiya, but like we
School
get to
teacher.
work quickly, and I really like that because this process can be very chaotic. Like writing can get very chaotic. It can go on forever. There is no end to it. But having a structure and routine, I really like that. It's also like my inner accountant in mind, which is very happy ki okay, we have like everything scheduled and it's in place. I really like that, and that's what I've learned a lot to like and a place like this, which is supposed to be so creative, that can also be broken down into smaller fragments. ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको आज ही पूरी स्क्रिप्ट खत्म करनी है या आपके पास 1 साल है स्क्रिप्ट लिखने के लिए. अब उसको डिवाइड करो. देयर इज टू एक आउटलाइन होगा, एक 2 पेजर आउटलाइन, 4 पेजर आउटलाइन, 10 पेजर आउटलाइन, देन यू जंप इनटू अ स्क्रिप्ट, एंड दैट गिव्स यू अ फीलिंग कि ओके काम बढ़ते जा रहा है आगे. आई थिंक दैट्स समथिंग आई रियली लर्नड अ लॉट.
I wanted to ask about Bible creation because before creating a writer's room, you create a Bible. So for our listeners, what is a Bible?
So I think it varies whether you write a Bible before making a writer's room or after. At least in my case, it was after, because I mean, I was selected to write this show on the basis of a treatment note I wrote, which was about 8 to 10 pages. So I was given this book and I was asked for my take on it. And I gave a treatment note, which Netflix liked. And then project was greenlit. At least the writing was greenlit. And then I had the liberty to pick the writers I wanted to make a team. And then we got, I think, a couple of weeks to put together a Bible and send it to Netflix for them to approve or give ideas or whatever. But I think normally if it's like, some big shot who have approached a platform and all, so उनको एक आइडिया के बेसिस पे या एक पेज के ट्रीटमेंट के बेसिस पे वो अप्रूव कर देंगे कि हाँ आप लिख के लाओ. But I think for freshers, people who are starting, yeah, they would expect you to give a detailed storyline, character briefs, season 1 के episodes के brief outlines आपसे चाहिए होंगे उनको. Season 2 की possibility क्या हो सकती है वो चाहिए होगा. The world. So, I mean, easily minimum, I would say 20-25 pages. Minimum.
Sometimes they ask for a pilot as well.
Yeah.
I wanted
Pilot
to ask,
is,
does it
sometimes.
include beat sheets? Should it include beat sheets and the pilot?
Sometimes they do ask for
outlines
pilot.
plus pilot. Like if you're, if you're as a writer, if you're going to a platform or a production house, then you have a Bible, which is like she said, it's like your log line, your what the story is, all of your characters, all of your episodic outlines, 2 pages each, and then you also have your um, first episode in, and then you approach them, and then.
But that depends.
Also, like it completely depends on the basis of.
Yeah.
Also, like Bible is a term which बहुत different production houses, different platforms के लिए
Yeah.
इसमें different ways में use होता है. Also, it differs from genre to genre. Like if आप एक comedy लिख रहे हो, like आपको हर episode का idea नहीं होगा because sometimes it is very situation based. तो इसमें आप अगर आप 10 पेज का एपिसोड बीट शीट्स लिखोगे हर एक एपिसोड का, देन इट्स टू मच ऑफ योर टाइम गोइंग इन दैट मोमेंट. बट अगर आप क्राइम लिख रहे हो और थ्रिलर लिख रहे हो, उसमें एपिसोड प्लॉट पॉइंट्स आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सो उसमें आपको ज़्यादा टाइम स्पेंड करना चाहिए. लाइक व्हेन यू आर राइटिंग अ स्टोरी, यू शुड नो कि आप क्या किसी को भेजो कि दे वुड गेट इंटरेस्टेड टू वॉच योर शो. अगर आप एक कॉमेडी या लाइक रोम कॉम लिख रहे हो, वी put our heart into writing our characters. Almost each of our characters' ka description was a page long.
More than that.
Huh.
The primary ones were more than
Dimple
that.
Rishi went to 2.5 pages each. That's what we kept doing because we realized our characters are our show.
Yeah.
So usme, and then our episodic stories were like 2 pages each. So that wasn't something. It keeps changing. How much ever you want to, like, you would want सामने वाला person to know कि इतना मैंने सोच लिया है. अभी उससे ज़्यादा मुझे और काम नहीं करना. I want funding to write more than this. That is, you decide कि like, but it should have these basic things कि आपका characters होना चाहिए, आपका world होना चाहिए, and एक sense of हर एपिसोड में आप क्या क्या देख सकते हो. वो कितना डिटेल करना है वो आपके ऊपर है, बट एक उनको ब्रॉड आइडिया मिल जाना चाहिए कि अगर मैं शो देखूं तो मुझे ये सब मिलेगा उसके अंदर.
whoever you're sending it to should be able to see the show without the show being made.
Yeah.
You know, and everyone should have a similar vision of the show in the sense that if you pitch it to one platform and another platform, everyone should be able to see the show the way you have imagined it. That's the idea. Now that could be you can never be well prepared. You know, it's best to put every idea that you have out there, detail it out. A lot of people don't read a lot of stuff, so space it out nicely. Shouldn't be like, अरे इतना पढ़ना पड़ेगा मुझे. So even
Reference
like,
images.
yeah,
कुछ लोग reference
images, you know,
images.
references, everything, just to excite them as well as to give them to go well prepared, you know, because if it's half baked they'll always come back to you saying yes समझ में नहीं आया.
I think feedback is something that we all have to deal with a lot as writers. And my personal mantra is like, don't give them so much, like that they nitpick on
Yeah,
10
yeah.
different things. You know, keep it very.
In the Bible stage.
Yeah,
just
at the Bible
excite them.
stage. Yeah, very succinct. Keep it very. Just stick to the points. Don't fly around here, there. So they like grab this point. Like, what were you talking about here? And most people, like I said, don't like to read too much. They're probably reading 10 Bibles at a time, you know?
Yeah.
So you want to
So
make
just-
this an easy
Sorry.
experience. Yeah.
No, which is why, I mean, content is very important. I think in today's times, for it to be catchy, even the presentation is important. Like, you know, it's almost like copywriting where you will write those catchy phrases. तो कहीं पे शुरुआत में वैसा भी कुछ अगर आप लिखो, never harms. Just you'll grab their attention right away, and then you guide them into the content that you have, which should be the soul. But मैं बोल रही हूँ उसको थोड़ा style up, हाँ, dress up, हाँ,
It's also about being a salesman. That's
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, Bible is basically a pitch document.
Right. When you're adapting a work from a novel or some, from foreign show, how do you keep your originality as a writer in the script?
Can I start?
Yeah.
Like Gazal said, like the book was based in USA. It was about NRIs, but we haven't lived that life. हमें वो ज़्यादा life के बारे में पता नहीं है. तो when we got that book to India, like we are setting it up in India, then we could infuse our experiences. That's where we thought हमारी originality काम आएगी, क्योंकि concepts like शादी का pressure, although ये सब books में भी है, but हम उसको हमारे इसमें कैसे infuse कर सकते हैं, that was important. Dimple was not Punjabi in the book. We made Punjabi because Ghazal's origin comes from that. So how can you find thoda bahut similarities in the things you're adapting? How you can relate वो particular character को in the current situation? I think वो बहुत helpful होता है कि आप चलो ये इसमें से 10 things ये character के बारे में, but आप इसमें से क्या अपना बना सकते हो, and फिर उस 1 2 3 points को आप ज़्यादा push ज़्यादा करो, तो that way I think आप originality थोड़ा intact रख सकते हो.
Yeah.
One of the points, I think.
Sure.
yeah, I mean, he's right. The setting matters a lot. Once you find the right setting to tell the story that you're adapting, that world is defined, and then you're just playing within that world. Also, you don't have much of a choice.
Yeah.
You know, your originality will come because
Yeah.
you are the one writing it. So how can you? Well, it will be your dialogues. It will be something derived from your experiences. So unless you're just being very, very, very lazy and just translating, don't worry too much about originality. वो बहुत ही organically आ जाएगा. You know, even if you don't want, अगर कोई बोलेगा भी कि exact copy paste करो, वो नहीं होता है. You know. So
Yeah, I was saying exactly the same. Like I'm right now adapting something, a foreign work for an Indian thing, and I was told like it has to be a faithful adaptation, but you can't help yourself. The thing is, like, you have your tastes, you have your own voice that you've been honing for a while. So every scene will end up being different, because even if it's an adaptation, because like you are a completely different person, you're a completely different writer from the one who originally wrote it. So I think if you have figured out your taste a little bit, what you like, what you dislike in writing, what you gravitate towards, your voice, so to speak, whatever you write, even if like there are 5 people writing the same idea, yours will be completely different because it's yours. So I don't worry too much about originality either, because it's bound, it's like second nature. It's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can go ahead.
No, I would just say that don't treat that original material as something that's binding you. Don't treat it as chains around yourself. In fact, take that as like runway from where you have to take off, right? I personally don't want to adapt something if it's just going to stick to exactly what it is. I want to be able to say important stuff through it. Like Ek Ladki Ko Dekha was an adaptation of A Damsel in Distress by P.G. Wodehouse. Of course, it had no, gay love angle. But for me, it was like, I have this interesting story. How can I make it more interesting? I want to be able to say something which is not there in it. वरना मैं क्यों अडाप्ट करूं? वो इतनी सुंदर चीज खुद में है, उसको पढ़ ले लोग जाकर. पर अगर मैं उसको कुछ बनाना चाहती हूँ, I want to add something to it. So वो बहुत नेचुरली आ जाएगा. अगर आपको कोई चीज़ पसंद है, आप उसको जेल की तरह नहीं, एक जस्ट ओपन प्लेग्राउंड की तरह ट्रीट करो.
Yeah, and like all these guys said, we put in a lot of ourselves into the show. There is a basic world that we need to be faithful to. We just suddenly can't say, no, we don't like this story, we'll make it something else. At the end of the day, that's not our call to make. This is the world you get to play in. This is the playground. This is the boundary. Within that, I think most people are open to ideas and, I don't know, just playing around. And I think it's absolutely fine to do that. No one is going to put a clamp on your originality. And we shouldn't think like that. Like writers, Mera awaaz ka kya hoga? It'll be there.
So thank you guys. Thank you Gazal ma'am. Thank you Akshay. Thank you Aarsh. Thank you Sunayna. Thank you Nandini.
Thank you.
I
Thank you, man.
Thank
managed to
you.
get your names right by the end of it.
Oh,
I'm very
fine.
proud of you.
I was holding my breath
Yeah,
for
like,
you.
yeah, same.
So yeah, thank you all of you. Thank you Jagriti for coming to the show and
Thank
hosting
you,
it with me.
Jagriti.
Thank you,
Thank you,
guys.
And yeah,
Adesh.
it has been great to have you here, and we couldn't have asked for a better writers room team. Sure, yeah. So best of luck for your individual works, your individual projects, and everything. And thank you for coming to Scriptnama.
Oh, it
Thank
was
you.
our pleasure.
Thanks,
This
Adesh.
was
This was great. Thank
this
you.
was just a hangout sesh for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
It was good fun. Thank you.
So with this, guys, it's a wrap of Scriptnama season 1. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for giving us your love. Thank you for giving us time that you listen to all our episodes. I want to thank Durgesh sir for coming to the show, Viswapati Sarkar sir, Karan Asnani, Tanshu Singh, Charudat Bhagwat, Samir Patil sir, and I want to thank Ghazal ma'am, our entire team, to bless Scriptnama. So, guys, this is Adesh and Siley signing off from season 1. And we will keep coming back to you with bits and pieces that you haven't heard from the episode that we have released. So, yes, stay tuned. Some nice things are coming your way. Thank you. Thank you for listening to our episode. We hope you enjoyed it and found some answers and insight. If you liked it, please subscribe the show and share it with your friends. You can also follow us on Instagram for regular updates. Details mentioned in the description. Thank you for your time.